I am Sergio. Nice to meet you all. I am co-founder and CTO of BeeSmart Technologies. And in one sentence, our company is trying to help beekeepers take better care of their bees. Now, I come from Bulgaria, which is a country in Europe. Whoop. Okay. So I chose this picture to represent our country for a couple of reasons. First of all, I wanted to show that it's actually very beautiful. This is not really photoshopped. But we are also a mountain country. We don't have as big mountains as you guys. But we also have a beautiful nature and wide variety of different plants. And this is kind of a segue to my talk, because this picture is only possible because we have our little friends, the bees, pollinating those plant species. And I want to change a little bit the tone of the conference now by speaking about the confluence between naturally emerging systems, like the honeybees, and the software that you guys are probably creating. So why should you care about the honeybees? Yeah, sure, we love to have flowers, we love to have biodiversity in our nature, but there's also one thing that people don't normally think about when we talk about the bees. Now, bees have been here around our planet for 3.5 million years. And for this time, they have managed to develop a system in which each and every member does the best for the whole community. So the bees are an emerging system in which everybody does what it takes throughout his entire life in order to prosper. And we should care about the bees, because without bees, our supermarkets will look like this. Okay, what is this? Say, bees pollinate 1/3 of all the food that we put on our tables. And for this reason, we should be really thinking about the way that we are transforming the environment. Because here's the thing, bees have evolved a lot for 3.5 million years, but for the last 100 years, we have been changing the environment so much that they cannot really catch up to us. So they have managed to create the perfect food, which is honey. They have managed to perfect society. They now, we now base business models and structures in business based on their behavior. But as a lot of other things, people are just short-sighted and looking at the immediate profit. And for that reason, we don't create sustainable technologies. We don't create things that are in confluence with nature. We are looking at the immediate profit, and we're losing the bees. Just in the past 10 years, we have lost almost half of the bees on the planet. And with losing the bees, we're also losing our food. And here's the thing. Now there is a business model in America and other highly industrialized places on earth where beekeepers, the people that take care after bees, are being contracted by farmers in order to pollinate their orchards. So if you have apples and you want to have any production this year, this is not going to happen if you don't contact beekeepers to come and pollinate your plants. So we saw a business model in this. Like most of the other people, we are trying to fix a problem that has already gotten out of hand. So what is happening with the bees? First of all, we have the monocultures. Now people are doing apples or pears or whatever in a vast fields. But apples only flower for about 2 weeks a year. And bees cannot survive on food that is only available for 2 weeks a year. Of course, there are a lot of other problems related to the pesticides and fungicides, but today we take care of our environment like this. We practically try to disrupt the planet and the ecosystem. We use machinery in order to gain better production. We use plants which are genetically modified in order to get like pumpkins like this big or a cucumber as tall as me. But in that process, we are neglecting one of the most important reproductive mechanisms of nature, which is bees. We also have the pesticides, the fungicides, and different sorts of chemicals that we're introducing to the environment, and those are also killing the bees. Now, being an engineer and my grandfather was a beekeeper, I just felt that I have to do something in order to mitigate this problem. So the first thing that I did about 3 years ago was to develop the concept, which is a smart beehive system. I figured, okay, so what is the problem? We don't really know how to take care of our bees, and we just see the results of bees dying. So let's just monitor the beehives. Let's put a whole bunch of sensors on there, and let's give this information to the beekeepers. I prototyped it, and of course it failed the first time. The technology was not really there. The beekeepers were having a hard time understanding what it is and how to use it. But this project was good enough for me to win me a full scholarship at Singularity University, which is a place in the United States in Silicon Valley, where they actually try to teach us how to make the positive impact of at least 1 billion people. And I figured, okay, my project has the potential to do that. We are capable of helping the beekeepers taking better care of their bees and thus securing the food for the planet. So they introduced all the grand challenges that we have right now in front of our society. They taught us a lot about the different emerging technologies that are growing exponentially right now. And I left this question mark right there for the most important thing that I understood. You have to have a viable business model in order to be able to create an impact. It's not that the hardware that I created was not helping. It's just that without a business plan and without a steady plan in order for how to grow, it's not going to impact anybody. It's not going to help anybody. So I went on thinking about, okay, so our technology is not really about sensing things and telling the beekeepers what to do. It's about the information and getting information from a lot of different beehives in a lot of different areas so that we can understand the problems of the bees and attack those problems on a higher level. So what happened after that is we created a team which came up with the solution of, okay, we need analytics. What we need is not just some raw data about what is the temperature or what is the humidity. We need to know how those parameters interact and how to form complex algorithms in order to tell the beekeeper, okay, so your problem is not that it's too hot right now. Your problem is that your queen bee is not laying eggs. And of course, get the beekeeper on the phone, let him know what to do, where to do it, and when exactly to go and do it. So we created a software solution. So this is actually the reason I'm here. You probably were wondering, okay, so we're at a software conference. Actually, it turned out that our company is a software company. It's a big data company. We are dealing with information. We are analyzing this information. We are making more sense of it. And we are allowing the beekeepers to better take care of their bees, to optimize their production, to optimize the logistics, and, of course, increase the production. So this is one of the things that we are analyzing. It's not really quite visible on here, but what you can see there is some data that we are collecting about the weather around your beehives. So at this point, we noticed something irregular, and we notified the beekeeper. Our software sent out a notification to the beekeeper, hey, you should go and provide artificial food for your bees because our algorithm says that they're going to need it. We don't really know what is the reason, but our algorithms are of course still growing, but we know that when we see this type of behavior, we need to send out a notification that there's not going to be nectar in the trees around your apiary, and you need to provide artificial food. So this is exactly what the beekeeper did. And you can see down there, the black lines are actually rain. So this time it turned out that those conditions that we monitored are speaking about rain. So about an hour and a half after he fed his bees, it started raining. And this is how we saved a couple of his colonies. Because if the bees don't have food during 3 days of raining, they're going to lower their productivity enormously. Now, this is very good for the beekeeper because he cannot really open the beehives once it starts raining, because just imagine if you're at home and it starts raining outside, you're feeling cozy inside your apartment, and somebody just rips out the rooftop and just pours some syrup over you and some food. So this is how we actually helped one of our beta testers. Now, during the next few days, almost a week, we noticed the parameters stabilizing down there, and we didn't send any more notifications to the beekeeper because the algorithms sensed that everything is going to be okay, there's going to be nectar in the trees around the apiary, and in the following days, he doesn't have to do anything. So you can just see by the weight graph on the top that the bees actually started to collect more nectar and pollen and started to create honey. So this is the type of analytics that we are providing to our beekeepers, and this is the way we're trying to impact the world by using analytics. So here's a little bit about our team. Everybody on our team is either with software background or statistics and business background. Our CEO, he's mainly in this project because he's a business guru and he's capable of creating a scalable business model, but also he can understand data. And this is what we want from everybody. We want everybody to be passionate with our company, with our mission, and everybody should be involved in creating the algorithms, in finding out the best solution to help our friends, the beekeepers. I myself am an aerospace engineer, which is quite far from this field as well, but I spent 6 years working for a company that is doing email solutions. My particular role in that company, called Axway, was to develop filters for proactively catching spam. So if you are our customer back then, I was the guy who is watching all the porn, so you don't have to. I was going through all the Viagra commercials, so you don't have to. And this was pretty much my job. Now, our engineers, we have two main engineers, one working on the software, the dashboard that you saw, and one working on the hardware. But the funny thing is that the hardware is actually pretty much a software process, because the sensors that we get, those are all just electronic components that have nothing to do with bees or whatever before somebody can actually make them talk. So our hardware engineer is basically spending 90% of his time coding, as well as anybody else, pretty much. So what we did throughout last month, actually in July, we tested out our product with some beekeepers in California. And one of those guys, Randy Oliver, is a biologist who said, okay guys, so I see that you're building a system that can tell me information about my bees. With this system, I can get enough information so that I can make further analysis and allow the other beekeepers to understand what is the problem of the bees right now. So starting next year, we're going to create a pilot project with him, which is a full-blown research project where he's going to use our devices in order to better understand the problems behind this. And the future of our company is going towards creating really a big data company. So we are in the business of collecting data, but this project actually started out as something far different. We wanted to use the bees as sensors. For this reason, we developed this product that the beekeepers are going to use to get their immediate profit. You know, as I mentioned before, beekeepers are businessmen, and businessmen normally look at the short side for profit, right? So we're helping them optimize their works, but also we are working on developing a chemical system that is capable of conducting full spectrum chemical analysis on the spot, which actually means that everything that the bees bring inside a beehive, we can analyze and we can say, okay, so this is what are the chemical compounds in this certain area. And within a single beehive, you can have about 60,000 bees, and 20,000 of those are going to go out today and visit about 150 different flowers each. So just imagine the type of sensors that we can have in just one pretty cheap box. It's 20,000 sensors working all day around to give you a full picture of the chemical compounds of certain areas. And this is where we want to go after that. So it's a big market, of course. It's scheduled to have about 50 billion worth in the next couple of years. And we want to use this information to not only help the bees and the beekeepers, but also provide this information to big healthcare and environmental organizations so that we can make relations even between the chemical compounds of certain areas and the diseases in people in those areas. So our motivation is really to create a smart grid of nature using the bees as sensors. Thank you very much.